Hope you all watched the previous videos. Let's start this. We're continuing the chapter 3, measuring device and tools. Okay. Name the type of divider shown in the figure. This is a spring joint divider. Okay. So you can see in the image. So this spring is a spring. Okay. And the length is adjusted by the screw and nut combination. Okay. When Persian blue mixed with dash, it forms a quick drying stain, which is known as marking blue or layout dye. So that is methylated spirits. Okay, when Persian blue mixed with methylated spirits, it forms a quick drying stain, which is known as marking blue or layout dye. Okay, Persian blue is used on machined finished surfaces. Okay, it gives very clear and accurate lines, but takes more time for drying than the other marking media. Okay, so this is the Persian blue. Okay, which work holding devices support the round job while drilling the job on a drilling machine. That is, we block and clamps, bolts, packing pieces. You can see in the image. Okay, the bottom part is we block. You know that, right? We block. This is the C clamp. Okay, C clamp. This is the round bar. Okay. Name the marking media that takes more time for drying than the others. We have discussed in the first question, right? So that is Prussian blue. Okay. Which one is not the marking media used on machined work surfaces? That is chalk powder mixed with spirit. Okay. Chalk powder mixed with spirit or whitewash is not used on machine work surface. Okay. It is used for rough, rusty or mild steel jobs and suitable for casting and forging. Okay, so I will write it down here. It is suited, it is used for rough, rusty, okay, or mild steel jobs or mild steel jobs and suitable for casting and forging. Okay, casting and forging. Okay. And whitewash is not recommended for workpiece that have high accuracy. Okay, this is not recommended. So the recommended cutting angle of a flat scraper is in between. That is 70 degrees to 75 degrees. Okay, the flat scraper is used for removing slight irregularities on a flat surface. Okay, its edge is made slightly convex. Okay, its length is around 100 mm to 300 mm. Okay. So you can see in the image different types of scrapers are there. Okay. The half round scraper cutting is in between. That is 35 degrees to 40 degrees. Okay. Half round scraper is used to remove high spots in bore and bearing to give the right type of fit to the mating shaft or journal. Okay. So you can see here in this bullnose scraper is used to make oil pocket in large bearing. Okay. I'll write it down here. This is oil pockets. Make oil pockets in large bearing. Okay. Make oil pocket in large bearing. Okay. Templates are used for marking. Okay. The purpose of marking is used to mark on any workpiece or job to obtain accurate shape and size. Okay. Which one is not the use of divider? That is option D. Marking tangents. Okay. We can transfer the distance. We can make arcs and scribe circles, right? So this is the divider. Okay. We all know this, right? Surface plate is used to Surface plate is used to check the trueness of flat surface. Okay. It is used to test the flatness of other surfaces or to provide a truly flat datum surface in marking curve. Okay. Surface plate is available in thickness of 2.5 centimeters to 7.5 centimeters. Okay. And the material used we have discussed cast iron, granite, and glass surface plates are there. Okay. Which one of the following parts of universal surface case helps to draw parallel lines along a datum edge? That is guide pins. Okay, you can see in the image. So these I'm marking. Okay, so these are the guide pins. Okay, for a vernier caliper, the main scale reading is 20 mm. Okay, the least count is 0.02 mm. The total reading when vernier division is matched with the main scale in 26th division, what will happen? We have to calculate the total reading. Okay, here total reading equals to MST, that is main scale division, plus least count into vernier scale divisions. Okay, so MST is given here is 20, right? Plus least count is 0.02 mm into vernier scale division is 26, right? So 20.52 mm is the answer. Okay, here option D. Okay, what is the angle of point of dot punch? We discussed that CDP trick, right? So here D means 60°. Okay, so you can see in the image. Okay, that's the dot punch. It is similar to the center punch but have a sharper point ground to an angle of 60° by holding it tangentially. Okay, it is used basically to mark the center of a hole to be drilled either by hand or drilling machine. Okay. What is sharp point angle of scriber? That is 15 to 20 degrees. Okay. You can see here in the image. Okay. This is the point angle. Okay. And okay. This is the point angle. Okay. Here also it's shown like this, right? So this angle is point angle. Okay. The 60° dot punch is used for witness marks. Okay, so you can see the dot punch here. Okay, it is used for witness marks. Okay, here the degree is 60 degrees. Okay, 60 degree. Okay, which of the following is a type of divider? So both the spring type and film type dividers are there. So option C is right one. Okay, you can see the first one is film type. Okay, you can find here the pivot like joint is there. Okay, here. Okay, this is the film type, film joint type divider. Okay, the next one it is spring type. Okay, this ring type uh, object is there, right? That is spring. Okay, we can adjust the dimension by using nut and bolt. Okay, mechanism here, nut and bolt. Okay, the sign bar of 100 mm is placed at an angle of 30 degree on the gauge block. What will be the height of the gauge block? Okay, so answer here is 50 mm. We will find it. Okay, here how the sign bar is measuring the angle. Okay, so here angle is, this is the angle given, that is 30 degree. Okay, so length here is the sign bar of 100 mm. So length of the sign bar is 100 mm. Okay, so we have to find the height here. Okay, so by using trigonometry we will find the height. Okay, so length equals to 100 mm. Here it is a hypotenuse. Okay, so we have to find height. Okay, so here the degree is 30 degrees. Okay, so here sine theta equals to opposite angle, that is h by hypotenuse, that is L. Okay, so h equals to L sine theta. So equals to 100 into sine 30. Okay, 100 into sine 30 degrees. That is equals to h equals to 50 mm. Okay, so we got the right answer. Okay, which angle of the prick punch is used to mark the witness marks? That is 60 degree. Okay, you may get confused if here he mentioned the prick punch, but the dot punch marks the witness marks. Okay, so it's one kind of prick punch. Okay, combination set is used to, it is used to check angular surface. Okay, you can see here in the image, scriber is there, right? And lock nut, square head, steel rule, protractor, and what, center head, lock bolt. Okay, so this is the combination set. Okay, it can be used for different types of work like layout work, measurement, and checking of angle. Okay, it has a center head and rule, protractor head, square head. Okay, it is an instrument that has all the features of tri-square, bevel protractor, rule, and scriber. Okay, that is why it's called a combination set. Okay, what is determined while measuring a component? That is actual size. Okay, actual size is the size of the component by actual measurement after it is manufactured. Okay, divider is used for which of the following? That is all of the above. Divider can draw circles, arcs, and transfer and step in the distances. Okay, The tool which is used for laying out large circles is that is trammel. Okay, you can see here in the picture, trammels are used in layout work to scribe circles and arcs that are too large to be drawn with divider or compass. Okay, it can also be used to bisect lines and angles. Okay, and permanent marks made by placing punch marks at convenient intervals along a marked line is known as that is witness marks. Okay, which one of the following is used to drive dowels and rivets out of their holes? That is pin punch. Okay, you can see here the types of pin punches. Okay, pin punch is not used for marking but for removing a dowel pin or taper pin stuck in the jaw. Okay, this punch does not have a tip, but instead of a cylindrical pin, the length of which meets the requirement of jaw. Okay, which is used for making very large radius. We discussed that trammel. Okay, it is used to draw large circles or arcs that are beyond the limit of dividers. Okay, it consists of a bar with two movable heads. Okay, you can see here in the image. Okay, what is the use of trammel? Lay out a large circle. Okay, the angle of prick punch is that is 30 degrees. Okay, it is made of high carbon steel. Okay, due to this low angle, the tip of the divider gets a very accurate position. Okay, purpose of hollow punch. So the purpose of hollow punch is for making holes in a thin metallic, leather, or hard board sheets. Okay, you can see here in the image that is the hollow punch. Okay, it is designed to puncture a surface such as sheet metal, or leather in order to create a hole. Okay, it is easily identified by its exit hole located near the working end. Okay, the exit hole allows the punch material to be removed and discarded. Okay, the measurements are set on the dividers usually with steel rule. Okay, with the steel rule usually set the measurement to the divider. Okay, scribers are made of scribers are made of high carbon steels. Okay, and it is a rod with a tip made of high carbon steel that has been hardened and tempered. Okay, you can see different types of scribers here in the image. Okay, select the punch used for making witness marks from the following, that is 60-degree prick punch. Okay, or dot punch. The tool used to indicate or mark the length of pipe to be cut is that is scribers. You can see here in the image. Let's say here one lengthy pipe is there. Okay, by adjusting the scriber, we can mark. Okay, like this. Okay, so marking will be done like this. Okay, scriber is used for marking. Okay. Markings on the workpiece is made by using scribers. Okay, following the reference surface is provided by, that is marking of table. You can see here in the image. Okay, parallel blocks is used for, that is used for horizontal setting of workpiece. Okay, you can see here in the image, these are the parallel blocks of equal length, width, and thickness. Okay, center punch is used. Center punch is used for marking. Okay, it is used to locate or mark the centers of hole or to deeper the focal point. Okay, the angle of the center punch is around 90 degrees. Okay, length of this punch is 100 mm and diameter is 10 mm. Okay, you can see here in the image. Okay, that is center punch. Why surface plate is used for marking? Because it provides datum surface. Okay, it is a solid flat plate used as the main horizontal reference plane for precision inspection, marking out, and tooling setup. Okay, it is generally made of good quality cast iron, which is stress relieved to prevent distortion. Trammel is used. It is used for marking circles. Okay, you can see here in the image. Okay, this is the trammel used for large circles. Okay, which instrument is used to draw parallel lines? That is universal surface gauge. You can see here in the image. Okay, which marking medium is used for marking related to casting? That is chalk powder. Okay, chalk powder is used for casting related marking. It is not recommended for workplaces of high accuracy. Okay, Persian glue is used on field or machine finished surfaces. Okay, this will give very clear lines but takes more time for dyeing that marking media. Okay, the tool which is used for laying out diameters is that is dividers. Okay, it is used for scribing circles, arcs, and for transferring and stepping off distances. Okay, the measurements are set on the dividers with a steel rule. Okay, size of divider ranges between 50 to 200 mm. Okay, divider is not used for measuring distance between 2 points because it is an indirect measuring instrument. Okay, which compass is used to draw large diameter circles or arcs? That is Dremel compass. Okay, you can see here in the image. Okay, this is how we measure the dimension from the steel rule and we make arcs or circles of large radius. Okay, which of the following can be used to scrape lines parallel to a part? That is hermaphrodite caliper. You can see here in the image. Okay, this is how we use the hermaphrodite caliper or Jenny caliper. Okay, or odd leg caliper. Okay, both three are same. Okay, Jenny caliper, odd leg caliper, or hermaphrodite caliper. Okay, state the use of plumber. That is used for more accurate replacement for the vertical spirit level and also to transfer points down vertically in marking. Okay, which of the following is proper instrument for dividing straight lines and curves into equal parts? That is divider. Okay, so this is the divider used for dividing straight lines and curves into equal parts. Okay, and statement 1, in a machine establishment, crowbar, chain, hoisting, and rope is used. And the second one, these elements are established first of all for machining, machine running afterwards. So here the answer is statement 1 and both are right and 2 is correct explanation of it. Okay. Brick punch refers to make small marks. Okay. Mortise gauge is classified as, it is classified as marking tool. Okay. So you can see here in the image. Okay, that's how the mortise gauge is working. Okay, it consists of two pins. One of them is fixed and other is adjustable. Okay, it is used for marking parallel lines where a mortise and tenon joint is to be cut. Okay, center punch point has an angle usually in degrees, that is 60 to 90 degrees. Okay, which is used for dot punch, that is marking for memory. Okay, what is point angle of center punch? That is 90 degrees. Okay, center punch is used for which of the following? That is for locating and marking holes. Okay, marking tables are made up of, so concrete, aluminum, granite, none of the above. So here the granite is right answer. Okay, so marking tables are used as a reference surface for making on workpieces. Okay, it is made of cast iron or granite and available in various sizes. Okay, these tables are also used for setting measurements, measuring instruments, and for checking sizes, parallelism, and angles. Okay, state the use of marking knife. That is used for marking and scribing. Okay, you can see here in the image that is the marking knife. Okay, marking knife is also called striking knife. Okay, it is used for accurately marking workpieces. White lead powder mixed with a solution of turpentine oil, the marking media prepared is called, that is Persian blue. Okay, you can see in the image that's the Persian blue. Okay, divider size is taken, that is distance between working point and rivet center. Okay, which of the following is not a marking media? So that is black polish. Okay, surface plate is not of which shape? So there is no triangular shape of surface plate. So here the triangular is the right answer. Okay, Dremel is a type of dash tool, that is a multi-purpose tool. It is a multi-purpose tool or beyond the limit of dividers. Okay, it consists of bar with two movable heads. Okay, its scriber should be sharp. Okay, so you can see here in the image. Okay, purpose of engraved lines on the surface of marking of table, that is for setting job. Okay, so the purpose of engraved lines on the surface of marking of table it to the to set the job so that marking of job can be better. Length of beam of trammel, that's equals to 150 to 50 500 mm. Okay, so actually the length of the trammel beam is 15 to 50 centimeters. Okay, 15 to 50 centimeters. Here he is asking in the mm. So 150 to 500 mm. Okay, marking media used for casting and forging surfaces. That is chalk powder. Okay, we have discussed it before, right? When scribing line with a surface gauge, the angle between the point of the scriber and the surface of the job is kept. That is at 30 to 35 degrees. Okay, cutting edge of triangular scraper is grounded. That is 55 degrees to 60 degrees. You can see here in the image. Okay, it is useful for scraping, trimming, and debarring metals, tubing, and other materials. Okay, it's hardened and tempered. Triple edge blade is secured in a wood handle with steel ferrule. Okay, cutting edge of scraper is 55 degrees to 60 degrees. Okay, triangular scraper is a triangular, the front end of which is made into a taper and is made in the form of sharp point. Okay, you can see here in the image. Okay, okay, this is how the triangular scrapers are look like. Okay, which of the following is pull type scraper? That is hook scraper. Okay, so you can see here in the image. Okay, this one kind of a hook scraper. Okay, these are all the hook scrapers. Okay, template job is used for marking. Which of the following is not quality of it? That is, it is not hardened and temperature tempered. Okay, so it is the not a quality of template job. Okay, where is scraper used? It is used for scrapping. Okay, what is used for center marking on the job before drilling? That is center punch. Okay, where is tri-square used? So to check 90-degree angle. Okay, so this is the tri-square. Okay, so the both inside and outside we can measure the 90 degrees angle. Okay, the undercut is kept just below the tri-square to adjust it at right angle. Okay, you can check here. Here you can observe the slot here, right? So this is the undercut given to adjust the right angle. Okay, if any errors you find, so you can adjust the blade. Okay, surface plate is made of. This is made of gray cast iron. Okay, hermaphrodite calipers also known as, that is odd leg caliper. Okay, you can see here in the image. This is the hermaphrodite caliper or odd leg caliper or Jenny caliper. Okay, these are the different name for these calipers. Okay, this is the important one. You may get questions directly. Okay, the caliper useful for scribing lines parallel to the edge of the work and for finding the center of cylindrical workpiece. That is hermaphrodite or odd leg or a Jenny caliper. Okay, so you can check in the image. That is how we find the center of a cylindrical work, and here we draw lines parallel to an edge of the work. Okay, this is how we're gonna use hermaphrodite caliper. Okay, the main scale is on which part of vernier height gauge? That is on beam. Okay, so you can see here in the image. Okay, here it is. This is beam or a column. Okay, so the main scale, you can see this main scale is on the beam or a column. Okay, on which part of the main scale graduated on vernier height gauge? That is beam. Okay, you can see here in the diagram. Okay, beam or a column. Okay. What is the measuring device used to measure both internal and external diameter? That is vernier caliper. Okay, you can see here this is the vernier caliper. You can check the outer dimensions by using the external jaws. Okay, we can check the internal dimension by using the internal jaws here. Okay, here using the internal jaws we can measure the ring diameters like that. Okay, and from the following, select the commonly used tool for laying out large circuits. That is Dremel. Okay. Which caliper is used to find the center of round bars? That is Jenny caliper or hermaphrodite or odd leg caliper. Okay. This is the odd leg caliper or Jenny or a hermaphrodite caliper. Okay. The caliper used for finding the center of round bars is called. That is Jenny caliper. Error in squareness can be determined by using the following. That is used by tri-square and slip gauges. Okay. The caliper made for measuring the diameter of shaft is that is outside caliper. You can see here these are the two types of calipers, inside caliper and outside caliper. And this is a spring type. Okay. And this is the firm type. Okay. Okay. This is outside. Okay. If these legs are away, then this is inside. Okay. This is inside caliper. Okay. A vernier dial caliper accuracy 0.05 mm, beam scale reading 25 mm, and the reading shown by the head of the dial 24. Okay. Calculate the reading. Here, total reading equals to total reading equals to reading of dial. Okay. Reading of dial into accuracy of vernier, that is least count. Okay. Plus beam scale reading. Okay. Beam scale reading. Okay. So here 24 into 0.05 plus 25. So total 26.2 mm. Right. So here the answer is option D. Okay. Match the following figure of caliper with their names. Okay. So the first one is outside caliper. So this is 3. This is inside caliper 2. This is 1. Jenny caliper 3 to 1. So, so here C, E, E. So option A. Okay. Which type of caliper is shown in the figure? That is Jenny caliper. Okay. Spring type caliper is both A and B. Inside caliper is there, outside caliper is also there. Okay. We have seen in the previous slides. Identify the Jenny caliper from the following. So option A is the Jenny caliper. So you can observe the bent here, bent in the left. Okay. Odd leg caliper is also known as Jenny caliper. Okay. And second one is spring inside caliper. Okay. Here you can observe the spring here, right? And this is bent outside. So inside caliper. This is spring outside caliper. Okay. And the last one is firm joint outside caliper. Okay. Identify the name of that caliper which has three names. That is Jenny caliper. Okay. It is also known as odd leg caliper or hermaphrodite caliper. Jenny caliper or odd leg caliper or hermaphrodite caliper. Okay. PHRO here. This is R. Okay. The size of the caliper is taken. It is taken from point to the center of pivot. Caliper is made of which one of the following metals? That is carbon steel. Okay. What is the name of point X marked on the following figure of Jenny caliper? That is a bent leg. Okay. You can see here in the image the different parts of the Jenny caliper. Okay. Static test is carried out using, that is using all of the above. Okay, dial test indicator, slip gauge, and sine bar. Dial test indicators are used primarily for measuring gauges and fixtures. Okay, slip gauge is an and standard used for precision length measurement. Okay, sine bar is used in conjunction with slip gauges for precise angular measurement. Okay, the tooth thickness of rack is measured by, that is measured by gauge tooth vernier caliper. You can see here in the image, this is the gauge tooth vernier caliper. Okay, the fine adjustment is done by the screw. Okay, and lock nut is here. Okay, vernier scale and main scale observed here. Okay, Jenny caliper is used. It is used for finding the center of round bars. Okay, and we can also draw parallel lines of the object. Okay. The firm joint caliper and spring joint calipers are differentiated by, that is differentiated by type of joint. Okay. The spring type outside caliper are used along with steel rule. The accuracy of caliper is, that is 0.5 mm. Okay. So here calipers are indirect measuring instrument used for transferring measurement from a steel rule to a job. Okay. Surface gauge is under. It is under plane surface measurement. Okay. The measurement of surface accuracy is called plane surface measurement. Okay. So in this measurement, the measuring tools are used such as surface plate, surface gauge, straight edge, dial test indicator, vernier height gauge, etc. Okay. What is the name of the micrometer? That is flange micrometer. Okay. Both annual of flange micrometer are the shape of flanges. Okay. It is used to measure caudal thickness of gate tooth. It is also used to measure the thickness of pins made on cylinder. Okay. What is marked as X in gate tooth vernier caliper? So here he's showing X here. So this one and this one. So these two are called caudal addendum. Okay. These two are caudal addendums. Okay. Gate tooth vernier caliper is used to test how fine the teeth of any spur gauge. Okay. It has a depth bar above which the measurements are marked in both metric and British system. Okay. It is a mixed form of two calipers. Okay. So that's all. Thank you.